Hey guys, how you doing today? Coming to you with a couple special things that we're working on. We're not going to really do GMB training as we normally do today on our calls. Reason is we have a lot of different things that we're working on. Paul, sounds okay? Everybody okay? We're listening. Can you hear me? One, two, three. Yes, 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 yes. All right, great, great. So today we're going to kind of do something a little bit different. And one of the basic reasons we always end up doing something different is I'll just ask you guys, why do you think sometimes we just come on here, we do something different? What are your thoughts on that? Give me an idea why I'm going to do something different today. And Rusty is probably going to be the first one to figure it out because Rusty's the biggest pain in the ass that I know. So he will think like I think. To shake things up, nah. Sharing is caring, nah. Feedback and new ideas, Dante, that's pretty close. New production, because you want us to be on our toes. Yes. And the other main reason is I didn't have anything to demo today, so I had to come up with something new. How about that? Right? Which isn't necessarily true, but we've been working on a lot of things. Alan's been stirring up a lot of shit, with all the stuff that's going on. And so just wanted to tell you guys that a little bit about what we're doing. And a lot of this stuff comes because you give us great ideas. You make us think. And, therefore, we've done some stuff. So I'm going to just kind of turn this thing over to Gary real quick. And we're going to talk a little bit about the program that he has been working on and developing, and we have some testers that are working on it, and literally what has come out of that process. And we're going to start off with Gary about the no list affiliate program, and then the actual OTO tool that we built, which goes into that and has now morphed into something else. So Gary, why don't you just kind of go ahead and take it away.
I appreciate that. I've got a question for everybody before we get started. How many of you heard about the affiliate program to start with, or heard at least a rumor about it? Give me a 1 if you've heard it, and a 2 if this is the first time you've heard anything.
Okay. Couple twos. Rumors.
Rumors. I like rumors. There's a few people who hadn't heard about it, and then it's about half and half maybe. But here's how it came about. I've been playing with the concept for about, I'm going to guess, close to 2 years, because I used to play with affiliate links, and we'll see if we can, if everybody can relate to this. If you stick an affiliate link into Facebook or some of the social platforms, what happens to you? Anyone trying to answer that for me?
So you're talking about putting a referral link or something in Facebook or some of the social medias. Brian G, banned, you get gobslapped, disapproved, terminated, destroyed, evaporated.
You don't necessarily get terminated, but they're going to slap you and they give you this real nasty message that says, you can't put this banned link in here, da 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 da. If you think you've been wronged with this and it's wrong, they give you some steps, but they're not going to let it through. Okay? Exactly. So here's my question. If you could at will put all the links in there without a problem, would you be able to make affiliate sales through those platforms if you get enough eyeballs on those links or pages? We're trying to draw you a little picture here. Okay? So in putting the course together, I had to take images. So I want to give you a little background before we go into the software. So in order to take images, I had to put a link in there and show everybody what happens when you put a straight up affiliate link into Facebook. So gives the pop-up message and doesn't let you do it. And then I created what I call a page that I'm going to put into, say, Facebook or some of the other social networks, so I could take images of the process. Well, really, in truth, I didn't want anybody to see those pages, so I was hopeful nobody would pay attention. Unfortunately, I ended up with 3 sales and 1 affiliate request out of doing that process in that first day. So what does that tell you?
Tells me you're awesome and you're incredible. And
No, that just tells me the system works. It's
Well,
not what
that's
I
better.
did. The system itself works.
That's a better answer.
Okay? It
It
works.
works.
There we go.
It
There's
works.
the answer, Karen. So we wanted to develop, along with the course, a piece of software that would automate what I was doing at the time. Doing it manually works, we know that, but we wanted to magnify the effort. So we created a software that originally was going to create Word and PDF type of documents that you could either put up on your Drive and share a Drive link, or you could put directly into some of the social platforms. So originally we called this a PDF stacker. Patrick, can you drop that down for me so we can peek at that just for a second? Now, what happened is we found out a way to make it even more powerful than we had ever dreamed. So what we end up doing was putting cloud accounts in here and stacking it and multiplying it times the number of buckets that you had in each cloud account. Now, here's the question I want to ask everybody. How many buckets do you have in each of your cloud accounts for those that are actually have existing cloud accounts?
I know the answer. I know the answer.
2 right now, Scott says.
Scott, 2. Brian, 2. Normally, everybody has 1.
In some cases, but there are some cases. In the example of, there we go, Paul. That's what I was looking at for right there, Paul.
Paul showing off 100.
Okay, we're gonna use Scott's example right now, because one of the guys has 20 Azure accounts all by himself. Now, realize we're only going to talk about one platform to give you an example. So if you have 20 Azure accounts and you only have 2 silly buckets in each one, not 100 like Paul and some of the other guys have, can anybody answer me this question? I'm going to draw a picture for you here.
Mental.
I have 20 accounts that have 2 buckets apiece. If they're all tiered or siloed or stacked, how many is 2 times 20?
40-ish.
40-ish. Well, let me ask you this. Does everybody see what the potential of just that one account is? If, say, instead of using 2 buckets, how deep would a stack be if you had 100 buckets? Let's see if anybody's good with their math. Now,
4,000.
4,000. So here's my question again. We're going to take it to the next level. Okay. If you can make a stack based on a cloud property, which has a high DA, high PA, and you're stacked 4,000 deep in a single run off of one cloud platform, how powerful has this just become for what you want to do?
Like an atomic bomb type thing? Is that what you're looking for?
We're going to call this a mega cloud stacker is the direction that we're going with this. But I want to paint you the picture of what you're about to have in your hand.
No way. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I kind of think we're about 2 weeks away, maybe less, but I think we're about 2 weeks from releasing this internally to the members here. So we wanted to kind of draw a picture of the process and where it's going. But of all the softwares that we've done, and we've had some strong softwares out there. When we think of Backlink Factory and Ranking Factory and the GMB Factory, this may rank right there with the top as being the most powerful single item that we've ever done. And that's a big statement, guys.
Hey, Scott, are you there?
Brian, let me touch on that question for a second. Here's what I want you to picture, because we spent a little bit of extra money to do something special with the editor. So yes, videos come into play, docs come into play, but in this, we're able to link our images, link buy buttons within this operation, and virtually anything you want to do. Okay, so we've taken some extra steps to make this just one extreme piece of software. Okay.
Well, the other thing is the PDF allows you to add all kinds of data into the PDF, Brian. So it's one source, but it can have multiple. It can have your video in it already. It can have your documents in it already. It can have your images in it already. See what I'm saying? So that's, who the hell is fried chicken?
Guys, let me touch on something first. I want you to take away the word PDF and add in HTML instead. Let's replace that word for a second and draw a little better picture for you. Think of the cloud stacker that's in RFR for those that you have. Okay. So in some of the pieces that we have in Ranking Factory, you get to choose from an HTML or a PDF in the article stacker in particular, right? So one of the things we want to really get to is a toggle button in here or a check button that you're going to pick HTML, you're going to pick the PDF. So when we get to an end product, you have a little more control.
And you see what Gary's talking about, guys, as I'm filtering through some of these areas. I'm going to have somebody come on here and share a little bit in a minute. But, this really, with what we bought, enhances what the original process Gary's talking about like 1,000 times, right? And I'm going to have a couple people pop on here and just kind of give you what their thoughts are about that in just a second. So go ahead.
Well, let's see if we have any additional questions we can touch on real quick, and then we'll bring somebody else on. We'll make sure we don't leave anybody confused as to what this tool will and won't do.
Well, they may have some questions after.
Okay.
Let's see. Scott, are you there?
Yes, sir.
So, Scott.
Can you hear me?
Let me ask anybody. Scott, everybody in here knows Scott, yes or no? No, we're not gonna demo anything, Valerie. Everybody knows Scott? No. Man, I must do a terrible job of promoting you, Scott. All right, let me ask another question. How many of you guys have ever heard of the Winebox guy? Yeah. See there, Scott don't know who you are. They just know what you do. Okay?
That's branding for you.
That's branding. Okay. So this is interesting because Scott is not a marketer. Or let me rephrase that. Scott was not a marketer. Scott is a entrepreneur who makes beautiful, beautiful Winebox gifts, which I have seen and I have. And then he has joined the Ranking Factory way back when and has now become somewhat of a marketer, but he's also making these wine boxes. So I always like to have Scott be one of our testers because he has a different set of eyeballs on what we do. But within this process, Scott, daggone it, tell everybody what your thoughts are about, what we started with, what we're doing now, and I don't even know because I've never asked you this question. Do you actually like this or not? I could be shooting myself in the foot.
No, I love it. It probably is the easiest one to get started with of all the tools. And Chris keeps updating things to it. It works smooth, it runs fast. You get the results of the URLs that you're posting to, so you can take that list of URLs and throw it into Backlink Factory. You can see what's going to post because of the preview button. And what I like, I did some research, the PDFs, the images you put in the PDF are actually carrying the metadata for the image, so you can stuff it full of goodies.
Yeah, and a lot of times, images always get their metadata stripped out, but when you hide it or cloak it within this process, it doesn't, is what you're saying, right?
Right. I mean, you could pull it apart later on online and see all your metadata, which is great. And you can use the PDFs you produce for other things, whether it's calendars or I'm going to see if I can use it for some blog posts and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Since you've already done the work, do the work once, but multiply where it goes.
So what did you think of the editor, the new editor, and how that's working?
It's working great. You can design your page and put borders on it if you want to. Yeah, it works great.
Okay, awesome. So what you're basically saying is that we're kind of always overdoing our programs and making them a little bit hard, but you think this is a pretty easy, simple process, and it automatically does the stacking, and the power is going to be there, right?
Yeah, I think it's a lot more intuitive. Maybe it's because you're coming from the other tools, but it was really quick to get working.
All right, cool. Well, I really appreciate that. Anybody else that's using this have a mic that wants to talk? Karen, do you have a microphone on, or are you hiding behind another computer? Thanks, Scott. Really appreciate it, man.
You bet.
Let's see here. Karen, do you have a mic?
I do.
All right. So I know that you're in there testing, which is
Yeah.
good to have our support team in there testing as well. What are some of the thoughts that you have? I really don't know. I've never talked to you about it.
I am so excited about this new editor. I found it frustrating in the beginning before you guys went and added the new editor. It is so easy to use. You can see the layout very easily. You know when you're setting it up properly. It's easy to enter information and images. It's fabulous.
Cool. What are some of the ways in which, obviously just making the tool and making, the PDF and stacking, how do you see this working in conjunction with your clients and what you're doing? What's the power behind this for you?
I think kind of unlimited, yeah, to me, it just seems like it's kind of unlimited, that you can take pretty much anything from any client, any affiliate product that you want to market, and promote it wherever you want. And like Gary was saying about putting it on Facebook, I think that's really exciting that we can do that sort of thing, and Facebook's not going to be the wiser.
Yeah, that's exactly right, because they can't strip the metadata out of the image that's in a PDF, right?
Yes, and being able to put all your metadata into the images and know that it's going to stay there is also great. And if people want to take the images from your PDF or your HTML, that's fine too, because they may or may not know that there's metadata in the image, and you get promoted even more.
Right. Well,
So-
and then Scott's popping on here and says, plus, after doing a stack or modifying the PDF and the title, redo the stack in a different sequence. So you can, really blast it off the universe, because if you do one stack like we do in Ranking Factory, you just change the stacking order and do it again, and do it again, and do it again, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
There's no limit.
All right. Good. Thanks, Karen. Appreciate it.
Anytime.
Anybody else that's playing with it want to say anything, or is any questions about what we're doing? I mean, like I said, I'm opening this thing up so you can see all the various ways in which you can use it, and it's awesome. It costs us a lot of money to not that that makes any difference to you, but just to make this really, really, really good. Can you clone the stacks and then edit them? Can you clone the stacks? Well, you've got the stack. Yes. Let me say this. You can save them.
That's where I was going. Yes.
So once you save them, Paul, and then you bring them back up, okay? You see like you're saving them. So you save them, then you can see up here, you load the article again, save your article, load your article. So I'm not sure that's cloning it, but you save it, you bring it back up, and then you can modify and edit them as you bring them back up. Does that answer your question? I mean, we're all about saving time. So, once you do the work, we did have a little bit of problem with this at the beginning, but, you make new ones. Yes, the same thing, right? From my understanding, Google does not rank Facebook except for Facebook Notes. We're not necessarily looking, Tim, for this to rank. What we're really trying to do is make sure that when we post it, it gets through the Facebook system, so that, like if we're running ads or we're running audiences or whatever, right? It can be seen. I'm not really interested in trying to figure out how to rank it, if that made any sense. How does this relate to the affiliate concept? Valerie's asking that. So you can go ahead and talk about that, Gary.
Okay. The original design, Valerie, was to be able to, for intermediates and beginners, to be able to make affiliate commissions without having a list. Because that's the struggle for somebody starting out, or even after you've been at it for a while. The number one thing you'll hear out there, I wish I'd started having a list, building a list right from the beginning, and I put it off and didn't do it. So this is my solution to somebody not having a list. And like I said, just with an experimentation page, just so I could take images, I ended up with 3 sales the first time I tried this to create it for the course. So what you're actually doing, here's the key to it, folks. Build up your friends list, build up your groups specific to what you're trying to target, and continue to build them up until you reach there's no limits on groups. Where you have a limit of 5,000 of friends, you don't have a limit on your groups size. There's groups with over 1 million in them. So if you find the right niches, you can have so many people in that when you post something, you're gonna have many thousands and thousands of eyeballs that actually see what you post. And the key to everything is the number of eyeballs that actually read your pages. It doesn't matter if it's a website, it doesn't matter if it's a blog post, and it doesn't matter if it's a PDF or a document. As long as it's got buttons on it that they can pay for something, and you get enough eyeballs, you're going to make sales.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's really designed to bypass what most new people trying to build a list or sell affiliate programs don't know, and that they, we're just trying to save everybody a lot of steps here, Valerie, to be basically honest with you, and help people along the way and get to their goal quicker. Does the tool put the same exact article in every PDF, or can spin text be used? Gary?
Well, we haven't added a spin tax feature in yet. We have discussed it. We may get there, we may not get there. Will this replace or be better than Ranking or Backlink Factory?
Hell no.
It's a different tool. Okay? It can be used in conjunction with Backlink Factory or Ranking Factory, but it's its own tool with its own purpose. Here's what I want to tell you. If I'm going to try to compare tools for a second. If you build up your back properties and do it correctly, and we tried to show you a single example how a single run could put 4,000 tiers down or 4,000 deep silo with a single run. What do you have right now that'll do that? Anybody have an answer for that? Now you could do it with some of the tools, but you're going to have to repeat the process and keep building, take your last link, keep building it deep, and do it that way. But it won't do it the same way. And it's not going to create it in the same fashion that this tool is designed to do. I kind of hope. Yeah,
that kind of answered the question pretty good. John, I love John. Everybody has to close your eyes for a second and envision what I'm about to tell you. I am a chiropractor, and my name is John Quackenbush. Now open your eyes, and I just think that's so cool, John. Go to the Quackenbush chiropractor. Just, I can see that as branding, man. So cool. His question is, so this creates PDFs and HTML, and these are hosted on or in the stacks, correct? Gary?
Oh, sorry. I thought I didn't realize you were referring that to me. Think of it this way. What is a silo? Everybody understands what a silo or a tier or a stack is. That means everything is linked to the previously uploaded document, PDF, or what have you, right? So when we speak of something that's 40 deep or 1,000 deep or 4,000 deep, that means everything is linked to the previous uploaded. Okay? Is there a footprint? Absolutely, there's a footprint. But it's a footprint on a high DA PA. In other words, there's no junk links thrown in here that's going to cause you any damage.
Yeah, I mean, your footprint's on Amazon, your footprint's on Google, your footprint's on Azure, right? So yes, but nothing's ever going to happen with that, right?
That's correct.
So I mean, one of the questions.
That's not to say that someday they won't change it. I mean, if we had 1 million people doing this, they might change the rules, and we'll have to adapt to that. I don't see that because they're wanting everybody. They're wanting everyone to head in the cloud direction, or at least that's the indication that we see out there.
All right. So anyway, that's just a quick preview of what we're working on. And like Paul says, you want Google to see your footprint on this because your footprint is high power. And so when, if you think about this in reality, you could take your whole website and put inside of this, if you were inclined to do so, and it would all be sitting inside of this, and your whole website could be stacked 20, 30, 40, 50 deep.
Hey, Patrick, let me throw in one final 2 cents before we go on to the next group. Let me ask the question, and Patrick just brought this into perspective. See, because I can build entire web pages in this platform. How much hosting or domain names am I going to need to build out 4,000 websites if I wanted to, or 100,000 if I really choose to?
Just depends on how much you're going to pay to have it hosted on the cloud.
Bingo. So how many domain names did I need in that cloud?
None.
0.
Leave the hassles to the clouds.
That's it right there. So does everybody see there's some benefit to using this process in ways that we never even thought of when we started to design this? We've gone into uncharted waters that hadn't been done before.
Well, we're already starting to see results from people using it. So
Amen.
This is a great question, okay, from BJ Ocampo. BJ, awesome question, man. Is this different from Backlink Factory? Yeah. Backlink Factory, if you think about what you're building with this product here, everybody, you know, you've got the stacking and you've got the high power, and like Paul says, the footprint you want to be on Google's radar for the footprint, so to speak. Now, I mean, I just got goose pimples up and down my arm. Now, when you take all of those links, listen to me, all of those links, okay, from what we've just created through the stacking, and you now move over to Backlink Factory, and you now make all of those backlink links to all of the power links through the Backlink Factory with the embed codes of all of those, and put them on your IFTTT, or take the embed codes and put them on your Google site, or take the embed codes and put them in a press release. Does anybody even fathom the possibilities of how powerful that this can be? I mean, seriously, can your mind comprehend that? Because mine can't. I just know that when we are building the stacking power, and it's all great content, and none of it is going to get stripped out, right? Do I have a mind map? Tim, I don't even have a mind, let alone a mind map with this yet, dude. I mean, you know, literally hair is raising on my head. I don't, you know, it's just too powerful to even think about, right? So does that help you understand that, you know, look, I'm gonna just kind of phrase it, Gary, this way. A lot of people think that we build tools to replace our other tools. That's further from the truth than you can ever be. When we build something, you can use it to enhance something else, right? So when the Backlink Factory is built, it's to enhance Ranking Factory. It's an enhanced GMB Factory. When we build GMB Factory, it's not replacing anything, it's enhancing it. Make sense to everybody? So what John is saying, that if we cared that the PDF actually gets read by a possible client or patient, yes, John, you do care, because all of this information is going to be what you put in, and it's going to be really good information. But he also says, would it be better to read the website content broken into chunks, a little, you know, like back pain, neck pain, trigger points? You know what, John? Exactly. Make one of the PDFs back pain, neck pain, trigger points, injections. Make one for each, right? And then stack each one of those on top of each other with links. So you make it more powerful, right? and use RFR to create shorties, correct. And new sets of sheets in Backlink Factory, Scott, correct. So this is a standalone product. There's nothing that it's tied to. It's all by itself, and we're going to sell 1 million of them, okay? Because it is so freaking powerful. But we just wanted to tell you a little bit about what we're doing, because this really came out of an idea from someone in the group, and that's why I say in my initial letter there we started with, or bullet points, you guys got an idea, man, just let it go. Let it go. Send it to us. You know, many of them we can't do anything with, but some of them trigger something, okay? And that's how this gets done. When is this going to become available? I want to buy it now. Can I pay for it now? No, 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 and no. Sorry. We're not going to let this out until we know that this puppy is perfect. But like Gary said, it's going to be less than 2 weeks, okay? So any last questions on this?
Let's give them a hint on the pre-launch pricing that's internal only.
No.
No, okay. Okay.
No.
No.
I don't want to scare people. You know? I can tell you, no, we're not going to do that. No. Okay. Because what happens if I change my mind and want to make it lower? So, Paul, yes, there's always a replacer. And all this information, Brian is exactly right. It's free for you today to understand, you know, what this is and how we're going to do it, right? So you just add your cloud accounts like you already have them already done. You go in here, you make them, you stack them up, and it's going to be really, really. BJ, all replays will be emailed to you afterwards, my friend. All right, so let's move on to the next arena. Let me ask you this question. How many of you in here are or ever have dealt with Facebook ads, Facebook audiences? Number one. Give me a one if you've ever played in that dump pit. You know, I hate Facebook. John, dude, you're a man after my own heart. Paul, they suck. And, you know, everybody has played with Facebook, and everybody's dealt with Facebook ads and everything else like that, right? So we've got, Ahmed, you've never done that? Oh my gosh. It's powerful. I mean, let's face it, the reason everybody does Facebook is because they think it's powerful, and you can segment an audience down to blue people that only have 4 fingers, you know, that like to play in the ocean only at 7 o'clock at night, right? So you can drill down to your audiences as Facebook wants to drill you down to those audiences, if you will. So Vincent, I'm going to make you the presenter if you're ready.
Oh, I'm ready.
All right, bud. So let me introduce Vincent to you. Vincent has been a friend of mine for a long time. Vincent is one of those people that when you stumble upon them and you begin to talk to them, you sometimes realize how stupid you are. And so Vincent really has a really great talent of making me feel pretty stupid. And I love him to death for it. When it comes to the things that we don't know, when you talk to people who do know the things that we don't know and how they work, it's very enlightening. And so one day I was talking to Vincent about, you know, some AdWords advertising and you know, the Facebook, or excuse me, the GMB leads tool. And he said, well, you know, well, what have you thought about this? Or what have you thought about that? And I told him I wanted to do something with Messenger Bot and blah, blah, blah. So that conversation led to something that we are now working on, and we just want to show you a little bit of a preview on that right now today, simply because, you know, questions that you ask create ideas and opportunities for us to do a better job. So Vince, tell them who you are, why you're here, and what we're making. I already told them who you are.
Well, the introduction speaks for itself. I have been working in and around Facebook marketing, and software and integration for quite a long time. And one of the neat things about what's happened in this convergence of what we're doing with Facebook and all the other cloud APIs that are available, like you just talked about, your ability to hook into the cloud, is now there's all this information that pretty much is at your fingertips. But the problem was for me, it was always just out of my reach. I had to do too much work to bring it all back together, right? So what I started to do as I started to look at the tools, from RFR to the GMB, Mega, all that, I started looking at everything, and I started looking at in the context of what could we do with something like Facebook Messenger now, and Facebook. And if we keep it at the high level, we're building a couple of tools that we're deploying through Facebook Messenger, but only one of them really is about Facebook. And I'm going to talk about that one first, and then I'm going to conclude with one of the ones we're working on that has pretty much everything to do with GMB and just a great way to fill your funnel with GMB. So the first one we're talking about is really a method to, well, if you go back and take a look at maybe a year or two ago when Facebook got in all this trouble with Cambridge Analytica, you actually could find people with blue armpits in St. Louis who ate cheese on Thursdays. But a ton of that information got ripped out of the Facebook sort of public facing capability in Ads Manager, and there still were a ton of interest, a ton of things out there that were available that people could go after and do. And so a lot of people didn't know it because without going in and demonstrating how to run an ad in Facebook, a lot of times when you go to Facebook and you pull up interests in Facebook Ads Manager, if you've had any experience with that, one of the things that you'll find is that you can always dig into interests, you can dig into suggestions, but one of the biggest problems is, Facebook has I don't know, 1.131 billion, a million, just tons of users that are using this all the time, 131 million, monthly users, something like this. They can't afford, for just the pure processing power, to dump their whole list to you as soon as you tap it on Ads Manager. You really have to dig to really get at it. And many times when you're building an ad, that's one of the last things you want to do is take a look at what pops up in software and then analyze it and keep analyzing it. And what we started thinking about is that, is there a way for me to get Facebook interests to you, give you a chance to review them, and start making some decisions about going deeper? Because what we started to find is right now when you go to Facebook, you basically can pull up maybe 5 or 10 or 15 different interests. And a lot of people don't go any further than that. So they go to market with those ads, with those interests, and they're competing with everybody else. So you're wading around in this shallow, muddy pool, and the ad auction is going to be extraordinarily expensive, meaning that your cost per click is going to be high. What if there was a way to go wide and really find a ton about this audience that you have, take all those interests and use that in a way to go into the deep water and start picking up people that other people weren't going after, and maybe it's shallower, but it's far more cheaper from a cost per click perspective? What if we could do that? And so that's what we started working on. So I'm going to walk you through here in Facebook Messenger. We've deployed it in Facebook Messenger for us to really do this. And so the first place we go out and we look is the interests in Facebook. What are people interested in? How do we want to target it? So I'm going to show you a new interest.
So let's qualify this and say, this is how you, when using the tool, would develop your audience. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct. Said
Okay.
Much simpler than I could ever pull off.
Yeah, that was in 7 words, and it took you 5 minutes to say that.
So really what it comes down to, let's figure out an interest. Let's say,
Well, everybody in here pop an interest in, what is it you want to get Facebook ads about? Just put in a word, whatever you want, and then Vincent will pick one. I want to do this on the fly.
Dear.
You want to do Facebook advertising about what, guys? Water polo, back pain, dogs, come on. Ceramic car coating, that's weird. Cleaning services. Lead gen for local business. Dentist. You pick one that you want to use. There's a bunch of good ones there.
Let's try dentist, because the whole
Bungee
concept that when I started looking at this was the concept of owning your niche, digging down into your niche. And we're going to talk about that because dentist is pretty broad. You want to dig down into that and maybe find out what people are interested. So let's pick dentist. And what I'm doing right now is I'm taking this and I'm going out and hitting the API that Facebook has, and I'm going to bring back as many interests as I can around Facebook.
And would those be basically the same as you would see in your ads manager account when you type in dentist?
Yes, except I'm going to theoretically, I'm going to bring back all of the interest that you could possibly bring back. Right. Almost all the interest you could possibly bring back, not just a 10 or 15. For the sake of the demonstration, you know, I've looped this into this Google Sheet. So let me send this off. Okay. Right. I've looped this into this sheet and hopefully it works. So here's what's coming back. Right.
This is in real time, by the way, guys.
Right. And this is just what's coming back from the dentist, you know, and it's coming back. And so we have leading dentist. Now, this doesn't really seem like much, and I would look at this and I say, oh, Vince, awesome tool. I'm glad I stayed at 350. But what I would say is the next step here is to go against Facebook's sort of graph search. So what Facebook has done from a graph search perspective, it has created associations, suggestions, right? Sorry, the suggestions that, actually, I'm going to do this again so you can actually see this. I want to show you like that it's not me queuing this up, that it's actually happening in real time. Let's talk about a new interest. And we're going to do dentist. We already known what I've already shown you what came back with the interest. But now once that's done, I'm going to take this and throw this back at the suggestion engine. So the suggestion engine is our associations that Facebook has made between dentists and all these other words. So it may not be anything that is something that you even would think that we're associated with it, but because of how Facebook is making relationships with these things that are like the way a friend or a friend of a friend and a friend of a friend, it's doing the same thing with these suggestions, and you're getting a lot more interest that you could go after. So, and then we would say, look, you know what? I want to look at, let's see if I could dig a little deeper with, let's say, orthodontics, right? So now I have the ability to go back in and to explore. When I talked about knowing your niche, let's see if we can find something. Let's explore this niche, right? So that's going to come back and append. In theory, it's going to.
By the way, everybody gets that cool graphic for free.
Right, it's good. I had to look for that. But in essence, this is, it'll just let you keep going and digging deeper and deeper until you end up with a ton of different interests that you could look at. Now, obviously, some of these interests are on par, but I doubt free and open source software is really what you want to go after for orthodontics. Don't even ask me why that came up. But what I've done is I've created a template, a Google spreadsheet template, where you can say, oh, this is an interest, this may be a hobby, this may be you know, an occupation or something like that. So you can go through and start sorting those. And and now you have the ability in another sheet to start breaking these down that you may want to go ahead and target. So we're spending a lot of time right now working through, these are the ones we may not go after, right? Going after these, but this little sheet right here will roll up each of these interests that you have. And this is something to make sure that we don't go get duplicates. And then you have the ability to go into Facebook and go and start doing different targeting that other people may not have the patience to go look at. And also, as we're going through some of the testers and some of in the Facebook group, we've been spending time with people and thinking through their targeting a little bit differently. So it's not necessarily an echo chamber of you, but you talking about what's going on. And the nice thing about this is that was just interests, right? We've also gone in and really curated the demographics and behaviors. So Facebook also has demographics and behaviors.
Let's stop right there, Vince.
Okay.
Right? So how many of you in here who have worked with Facebook know about demographics, behaviors, and these statuses? Anybody in here? Give me a one if you have. Because okay, Michael has, Brian has, okay, Jay, Paul, okay, good. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure that everybody had an idea of what you're talking about, Vince.
Right. And so, and if you wanted to always look, you could always pop up here into these sheets that come up, not sheets, but pages that come up. And these are some of the descriptions that you would find of what those things really are, right? And we just wanted to find a way to go ahead and curate them, the income, industries, life events. I mean, one of the things I found with a lot of my restaurant clients is that, an upcoming birthday is a huge way to do great marketing. Or birthdays in August, birthdays in September, things like that, right? And it's also a very good way, if you're trying to think about how to target, to actually look at what your options are and start thinking a little bit more creatively about what you're doing. Now, a lot of people will say they use Facebook's tool, Audience Insights, and that's a really good place to go. And there's really no replacement for search. But the problem I found with Audience Insights is you can get a lot of information, but there's a ton of information in Audience Insights that you can't actually use to target ads. Because with them stripping away, they kept the capability of giving you some qualitative insight, but you really can't use it in your ad. And I'm just more basic and practical like that, right? You also have the ability to go ahead and through the menu, let me go back here and take a look at behaviors. We had to really sit down and curate this, but it is definitely, wait for this to happen. Okay, this is me being verbose. So for example, so you have information about Facebook page admins and API users, mobile device user info, information about expats, and consumer classifications that exist outside of North America, the EU and the UK. These things like, I found this very interesting, that you could actually target people with Gmail users, Apple email users, right? These are straight behaviors that people thought had gone away that are there, but they're sitting at the bottom of the barrel and nobody's really looking. Soccer fans, people who travel or commute. The one about phones is very interesting if anybody finds a way to use these. Owners of
You guys
phones.
finding this interesting? You guys, I mean, those of you who are familiar, you find this really exciting and interesting? Yep. Cool.
Well, yeah, and the whole thing about whether or not you find what's happening with somebody's LG phone interesting, it's the point of taking the time to really look at this data and start thinking about how you're targeting and thinking about what everyone else is doing and taking the time to figure out. There are a lot of different targeting strategies that people use, and we go through these in kind of our group and whatnot in the testers. But this has been a very interesting process in terms of doing what people do. So we go out to the API with this demographics and the interests, and we load these once a month from Facebook Live. The other ones, the interests, are real-time pulls. So we want to make sure that that's important, because obviously when you go, we pull it live only because we think it's important that you have the latest information. Obviously, when you put it in Facebook, that's going to be a real-time audience thing, right? And we also have a lot of neat other bells and whistles. So that's what we're looking at from a Facebook point of view. So this is really not about, lead gen and anything else like that inside of Facebook. It's using Facebook as a conduit to go grab information and truly put it at your fingertips for you to be able to go and research. And that's what we're working on. And that's one of these previews that I wanted to give you.
Okay,
All right.
so Tim is asking, what's the implementation process, the next step on how to use it?
The implementation process. The next step you need to do is you would, from a being able to go out and deploy it, it's deployable. What we end up doing is, let's see, we give you the ability, let me go get rid of this. We give you the ability to go in and just grab these interests, hit, use one of the ads, our ads manager tool right here, and grab this right here.
This is cool. Watch
Paste it
it.
right into Facebook Ads Manager. That's how you do it.
Watch that, Tim.
Say again?
I told Tim to pay attention to what you're doing.
Right. And so in essence, you could just grab this and paste it right into Ads Manager, and you could be up and running in seconds. All right. Obviously, you're going to have a targeting strategy with a lot of the changes that are happening with campaign budget optimization. There's some strategies for using it. There's people that use a Venn diagram chart. There's an e-commerce approach. There's an affiliate marketing approach. There's all these different approaches. But the key is to find out your audience. If you're going broad, maybe affiliate. But if you're going for interest-based or demographic-based targeting for e-commerce, there's a way to take each of these sections right here and maybe build different targeting for each one of these sections and figure out who's the winner and who's the loser. You kill the losers and maybe club together a bunch of the winners and just keep going and scaling vertically or horizontally. But the key is to have more, more information at your fingertips to really think about and to pay attention to the audience size. And that's one of the things we want to do all the time. That's just the initial audience size. One of the things that we have coming up is to be able to run these for different countries, different languages, to be able to use the API and go out and bring back things in Spanish or in Swedish or something like that, and bring back that. And I have not spoken to any of the results. You'll obviously, based upon what geography you're in, you're going to get a version of these results. I happen to be pulling the U.S. results back, but that's just how it goes.
So is it, Martin's asking, because Martin is from Austria, available also in German? You're talking about that?
Yes. The searching may be in German. Whether or not I have time to rewrite the front end of the bot in German, remains to be seen, right? So, but if you could get to a point where you're just going to here and typing in your interests or explore, and when you type in interest, you can put that in German. And then when we come in, we'll ask you what language or area you want to search in, and it'll send the API off in that proper direction.
Cool.
So I just have to figure out how to toggle it based upon if you're targeting the US, do you want to keep it in the US or do you want to hear it in German? So there's those subtleties, right?
So can you get granular to the point where, can you pull demographics like who likes Trump?
No, but you can pull, this is why reading is like, right here.
Politics.
This right here, that happens when you become the chief curator. So you can actually look at likely engagement with U.S. political content conservative, likely engagement with U.S. political content liberal, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been going out and I've been testing this, and I've also been, I also have access to one of the APIs that pulls back the Facebook ads library. So I've been going and looking around in the Facebook ads library to look at some of these things that are out there. A lot of these are very, very political.
So once we get this out there, then hang on a second. Hello?
So we've been doing a lot of this, and it's actually been quite interesting. I think the best thing is really having the conversations inside the group about what you're thinking about and what you're doing in targeting. And I think having a group of people around looking at this kind of information, taking the pause to look at it, really helps you in that process.
So basically, Vincent, what I was going to say is that we're just kind of giving everybody a preview into what we're working on. Mm-hmm. And when that all comes to the place of being able to actually deploy this, there's going to be training. There's going to be how you would go into these Facebook interests and behaviors, and go into all of this, plus how to use the tool itself in terms of
Absolutely. All that is going to be, we're going to go through all that in extraordinary detail. We've been modifying it and improving it in the group, but it'll all be available. My goal is to try to enable you as much as possible, not get caught in my mess, and let you move forward and ask the hard questions.
So I guess the question that I have right now for everybody that's here is, anybody have any thoughts? Is this a waste of our time? Is it something that you think is interesting? Do you think it could help drill down into more targeted, ads, more targeted customers? The purpose of us to share this with you today is for you to give me feedback in terms of what you see and what you think. Okay. How do I get access to the sheet about Facebook audiences? That's part of what we'll be sharing with people. Behaviors will reduce ad costs. Michael, that's a great thing. Great for target searching. All right. So primarily, you guys think that this would be useful for you in your business, and it's not a replication of something that you can just go buy someplace else, maybe a lot more expensive someplace else or whatever, right? Valerie is saying, interesting, since I target local businesses, that would be interesting also for finding consumers for those businesses. Is that right, Vince?
Yes, I think that, yes, I do think so. And that would help you get to people who are very, for specific things. I mean, like obviously dentists and things like that. However, these interests work very well. And they work very well when you're playing with rules of large numbers. So you're under 30,000 people, you're going to have to, there are other methods to use that we could talk about offline.
Okay. So I think Paul's got an interesting question here, like, for those of us who don't use this, and that is, if we use this, scrolled up, since this is pulled from Facebook, when you use this, will it be easier to get the ads approved? No, I don't think so, but I could be wrong.
No, I think the only thing that's really preventing a lot of, unless you're selling pot or Bitcoin right now or foreign exchange, or you are showing before and after, or you are selling real estate and you're seen to be targeting people and, in different ways. For the most part, your ads will be approved for Facebook. They're really into the money, but they have certain policies. This won't help because we're using their tools, right? So we're dropping in. So no, they're not going to let an interest that they don't have in there in.
Okay.
But I did want to be upfront about the local ads, because the rule of large numbers works better with some of it. There are some other strategies for local.
Okay, great. Awesome. Thank you
All right.
guys for your feedback. So that being said, there's another process that we're working on, and Vincent's going to share that with us as well.
Surprisingly enough, we're going to stay in Facebook Messenger.
Yay!
Okay.
Since that's what you know best.
Yeah, well, today. So
let me ask this question. How many of you guys in here are doing any kind of work with GMB at all? Give me a 1 or a 2. Yeah, you are, or no, you're not. So I should see about 100 yes, 100 ones in here. Okay, while you're doing that, I do have another question. Not to be sure this tool is about, so Alex, you have to watch the replay, bud. Very good for niche research, Facebook changing always the rules, ad approval, TOS, blah, blah, blah. Has any testing been done on products versus services versus branding? Okay, why don't you answer that question before we move on to what you're going to share?
Products versus services versus branding?
Yep.
Well, obviously the services that are more explicit, like if you had dentistry and you go after dentistry, you're obviously going to get you're going to find a wider audience there. If you have a particular product, you need to take a look at these interests and sit down and really look at all these numbers and look at all the audience sizes and the different interests and figure out, based upon these behaviors and or these interests, would they consume a particular product. So you do have to make a leap of logic and have a hypothesis about where you want to go with a particular product that may not be. So dental floss would be one thing, but like picture frames, right? You'd have to make some sort of hypothesis about it. And then it's really going to come down to, as Patrick and I were talking about earlier, it's going to come back down to your copy and the creative and testing the creative, right?
Okay, great.
Right.
Most everybody in here, 95% is into GMBs. So what can you do for us in terms of that?
Funny you should ask.
Funny.
That when I started looking at talking with people about GMBs, one of the things I found was that explaining the GMB, explaining what it's like to be hyperlocal, explaining all of that, it was important because I would walk into places and people sat in their offices in their computer and they would type up their business and say, well, I'm already ranking. What do you need? What are you worried about? Right? Things like that. And they didn't really realize sometimes it's cash, sometimes it's preferences, and sometimes it's really not about where you are, but where your customers are. And coupled with that, the fact that 60% of searches or more are happening on mobile and it's based upon the GPS of the device, it became really important to try to explain that to a perspective of that. So you've heard me talk and I get really complicated very fast, right? So one time I threw all that aside. I said, you know what? Some people just want to know where they rank, where their customers are. Let me just show them. So I went out and did this huge manual process showing like this one Mexican restaurant. Like I went through 6 zip codes, 4 terms, and I built it all manually, hard coded it into a bot. And I gave it to and I made it available to the owner of the business. And they did it and they looked at it and I thought, okay, we can talk now. And we couldn't talk anymore. They became obsessed with trying to figure out why they weren't ranking, why their competitors were ranking. And the conversation oddly changed from what is this GMB, what's it all about, to like, how can you help me? And why is this guy outranking me? And that's really what you want, right? And so I walked away from that, trying to figure out how I would go pull that off, because I was dumping data from everything from Leads Factory, Local Falcon, just GMB, all this other stuff. And it was just too much work. But people love this custom tailored thing to their business, and they really loved it. So what I ended up doing is sitting down and looking at some of the Google APIs that I was using through the GMB Mega Poster and Ranking Factory, and started looking at how to use Messenger and how to walk people through things. And one of the things I came up with was the ability to, let's see if I can get through here, or I may have to go in a different way. Okay, that's mine. Okay.
So literally, that preamble, if you will, was basically just a way of saying, let's create something very fast, very quick, very efficient, that through Messenger, anybody can know where they stand when they put their data in within 60 seconds.
Correct.
Did I say that better than you did?
No, but I'm gonna go on with it.
Okay, as long as you're good with it, that's fine.
Yeah. I'm gonna push up the right one apparently. Okay, we are back.
And by the way, guys, I love the ability, and you're going to see why in a second, but this is such an easy way of trying to pique a customer's interest. And if you do Facebook ads, you can do Facebook's ads about GMB and drive them to this bot. And really, I think this is an awesome lead gen tool, but then, you'll have to tell me whether I'm, having too much Percocet because of the pain in my neck that Vince gave me, or, if I really am understanding the beauty of this. Will this work in Australia?
If they have a vocal pack, it'll work in Australia.
So,
right?
What's that?
All right. So matter of fact, let's do it in Australia. So there. Okay. So
Yeah,
this
please
is the
do
first.
Do it this way. Do it in Australian.
I can talk much faster. All right. So let's go for we'll
Michael,
go for,
give me a term and give me a city. Let's do this real time. Give me a term. You want to know where you rank for what term in what city. And if you don't give me one, then we'll do it on our own. Melbourne dentist. There you go.
okay.
So type in an address, city, state, or zip code. Melbourne, Australia. Is it smarter enough to know AU is Australia?
Yep. Because this is you got to be pretty. Oh, couldn't find it. Melbourne, maybe not. So okay.
Ahmed, can you give me a postal code?
Yeah.
That's right. Pick one, I guess.
Hmm. Okay. Look, I'm trying to find a good address. Maybe I can use.
Michael, do you have an address? There you go. We got one right there. We'll just pick that one.
Okay.
Pick one that's not in the top three, would you?
So one that's like an actual address. I like all that. Okay, here. Sorry for the real time. Okay.
I had to pick one that's a pain in the butt, but better to see that. I mean, this is all still in development and transition, guys.
Hmm. Okay. What in the world? What happened? Okay. This is what you get for working in a what you call it?
Environment.
No, a test environment. It should be. Okay. Let's see. Let me just see. Let me see if there's something wrong with the server. Actually, oh, excuse me. If it gives me that answer again, I go to 806. That gives me that, like the zip code right now. Yeah, there's something. Hold on. Give me a hot second. What this is supposed to do.
Type in 21078. That's mine.
Yeah, no. If it can't find mine, it's not coming back.
Okay.
All right, so I am going to find because that's
All
what
right,
I want.
guys.
So I'm going in
That's what
here.
happens when you do it live
I
on
don't
the
know. Right. So audience. Okay. Oh, I got it. Okay, got dashboard.
So literally, when we do get the answers to this, everybody, what it's going to do based upon the location that you type in, it is going to give you the top 20, if there are 20, listings in rank order. And so when you send it to your client, or you have your client do this as a freebie, just say, hey, check your listings, and he puts them in for a keyword, and it shows that he's number 8 or number 7 or number 1 or number 20. Can you guys see how being able to do this on Messenger very, very, very quick within a minute? Obviously, it's not working here.
No,
Could
I
be a
screwed
benefit
up
to you
my.
guys. So if anybody wants to answer that question, that would be good. Is this mobile or desktop, Paul? It's both.
It is both. All right. Sorry about that.
Oh, here we go.
I was testing the API last night, and I removed it, and I realized that is the case. So I just put in the zip code, and so what it's doing right now, after we do this with my test, we're gonna go back and do the Victoria, all right, Australia, and it wants to know how many miles, and if it detects that you're outside the United States, it will move it into the metric system, all right? So say
Kill me.
30 miles.
Come on.
And so it's going to confirm that you want a dentist 0 to 806 and 30-mile radius, and it'll simply go out and bring back the page 1 of the results, and there we go. That quickly. All right, I'm gonna
So what do you think of that, guys?
go find that stupid thing. It's gonna be the bane of my existence, the thing before. Okay, here we
Right?
go.
So the basic reason for this tool is that we can become overcomplicated, but we want to get, we want to find clients right away. So if you know that they're not in that space within the top 3, it's a very easy thing to send them an email, blah, blah, blah. Hey, check this out. See where you rank. Put a keyword in. Where are you ranking? And put your radius in there. And the bigger the radius is, the less they're going to rank, right? For that keyword, right? Can
Okay,
that
so-
ranking be found any other way? Well, yeah, Brian, you just put the same data, in Google, and you'll end up with the top 20. But they're
Yes
not
and no. Okay, so one of the things you have to be extraordinarily aware of is that this right now, there are the tools, but remember, we are letting you, without having to go in and change your IP address and location in your browser or add some app on your phone. I can put you at any street location, any zip code intersection in the world.
right.
And you could check a radius around there. So yeah, you could go into Google right now and put that same thing for Victoria, Australia, but I guarantee you that the accuracy of using a straight Google API and having Google put it into a Centroid and figure out where that's going to be around there is going to be much better. So yeah, of course you can do that. But are you going to be able to put yourself anywhere in the world to do this in real time? Now,
No.
I'm showing you one thing. The thing I haven't shown you.
Wait a minute,
you
Vincent.
still have it.
Wait a minute. Here's the problem with what you just showed me. Okay, here's the problem.
Mhm.
I'm the dentist. You just showed me all this information. So I know that I'm number 10. What's your next question? How does this help me? How is this going to help me get this guy who just pulled this as a client, as a customer? How does this guy come back to me when we've given him this opportunity to look at, right? Where's my umbilical cord? How am I going to nail this guy?
Well,
I
it's
don't
funny
see
you
it.
should ask.
I don't see that. What, did you mess up?
No. See, that's what I was saying. What I was getting at is there are 2 versions of this right now, right? The first version is this is a tool for you as a professional to put on your phone, to put on your desktop, to run reports, to copy and share, to forward at any point. The second version of this is a branded lead gen tool that we built, where we give you a URL, and that URL will be branded to you, and somebody will come in through the bot, and it'll say, welcome to Karen's, SEO services. Let me talk to you about how we can help you. Would you like to walk through this process? And it actually will walk through this process. It'll walk through this process, and it'll walk through this process and then give me the ability to email you it'll give you the ability to email you
Their information, because they've
their
already.
information in a PDF report. But before we even give them the results, I ask you for your email address and your business name. And that report will have your logo, your contact information, and all that. And at the end of the period, we will send you a CSV file with everybody who has come in under your URL.
Do you have one of those handy that you could show people?
One of the reports?
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me a second. I'll pull it up.
So what do you guys think that's pretty cool? Right? is that you're just sending these things out to people, telling them to check them out. You put them in a mass email to people that are, part of your customer base, whatever, and say, hey guys, check out, see, new quick little tool here. Check out, see where you rank for your keywords in your area, for your business, for your HVAC, for your plumbing, for your, pool cleaning, right? So it's almost like cooking a frog. They don't know that you're actually data mining them with this information, right? You think this is really cool? I love it. It's going to be $997 to buy this. Anybody want it today? I'll give you a discount, for only $900.
Right. So
Nope.
Can you see my screen right now?
I'm trying to make a sale here. Will you shut up?
They'll do it for $993 right there.
All right. Paul says, say what?
Okay, $994. All right. So, but you understand, like that URL, and we'll also give you a QR code that you can put anywhere, take with you on your card, let people show, but they'll always come in and they'll always be branded to you. And they'll always be able to go in and get a report and do these things. And you'll also be able to get a CSV file at the end of the period, like I said, with that. And another higher level will even work on tying it directly into your back end. So if you have follow-up emails that you send after somebody would go through, you could continue on.
Right.
And I'll show you one other thing that I'm pretty excited about here. So this is the report that they would get, right?
So what's kind of interesting? I'm going to just do what I normally do and break in, is that you're going to be able to find, and I think this is really cool. Listen to me, guys. When you get one of these people to start working on this, and just think about this for yourself and do it yourself. They put in a keyword and they're not ranking, or they're number 7. And then it says at the bottom, would you like to try another keyword? And then they put in another one and another one and another one. You know what that tells me? It tells me what they're interested most, no matter what you say they should be interested in. Think of that, guys. They are handing you on a silver platter what you need to come back and tell them what they need to do, because they just told you what they need to do because that's what they put in. And don't ask me to repeat what I just said, because I don't have a clue. That's what's kick ass about this product, right?
People leave this data exhaust. I mean, we could do simple stuff, lead scoring, how many times they search or anything like that, or we could drop down to a level of detail, because these are, in essence, your prospects, right? And tie right into your back end and give you an opportunity to follow up.
Phil's got it exactly. They gave you the roadmap for what they want you to rank them for. Oh my God.
So as we're going and testing, we're trying to get the right information to put in here. The key really is to get this all to fit on one page so they can send some information. So obviously, it'll be the company, it'll be your email, prepared by, your company for this particular company. Contact me here. This is the search they put in. This is the location, and it comes back, and it'll get emailed out to them. So, the ability to have this on the fly to really get this it's pretty interesting. And you could take that link, you can run it in ads, you can put it anywhere, and this is a process. If you go with a way to put this into your back end, your back office, this is just going to be asking people questions and giving you the kind of information you need to move forward. That's why we're pretty excited about it. Of course, the thing I'm excited about is that Patrick keeps breaking every time, and I think
it's okay. I like doing it.
Okay, but let's say I ask, how do I rank?
Okay, now listen. Are you transitioning over to me, or are you just kind of?
No.
Okay, never mind. I won't. I'll shut up.
Okay, so you notice that I say, how do I rank, or what is a GMB, right? All of this is these short answers are AI built into the back end of this whole thing. So as it comes out, as it's branded from you, right? This sort of information, I don't know if you understand, this sort of information, as it's branded for you, will appear as if you're giving them the kind of information. What is a GMB? How do I rank? How do I know I'm validated? How do I know I'm valid? How do I know what's claimed? All those questions that people may ask if it comes up, they're answering it, but the answers are coming as if it were from you. So we're building this we're trying to back end AI into this whole thing. And so right now we have about 50 or 70 different prompts that people come in with a bunch of answers, but we're trying to tune it as if it were the customer, not necessarily the professional answering these questions. So, but this, right, the thing that Patrick was talking about earlier, this transition is this, one of the things I learned from getting in this group is that there are certain people who have these questions that own the business, but then there are people that are architecting the GMB, that are building the GMB, that are doing the post and doing that. That may not be the business owner. And but the people that want to know how they rank or why they're not ranking, there's another sort of next step that we're integrating with this, something that Patrick is working on.
I want to show you that.
Really go ahead and diagnose it.
But hey, Vince, this is really a critical point here. Dave John just made a absolutely brilliant statement. Brilliant statement. He says, do business owners really know the best keywords for their own business? Comma, most seem pretty clueless about online marketing, right?
Mm-hmm.
My answer to that is, do business owners really know the best keywords for their own business? Hell no.
But you know what might be very interesting? I was actually thinking about this earlier. So great minds think alike. Think about what your outbound email to that category of businesses are. Have you tried these terms? Where do you rank, right? And now you're just leading them right in.
Right. And here's the second piece to that. They are clueless about online marketing. But if I tell you, that I'm a tattoo parlor and one of my keywords is, how pimples affect tattoos, you are never ever going to know that's my keyword. You're never going to know that interests me. You're never going to have a clue about that. And is it relevant to their business? As Dave said, online marketing is clueless. But think of it this way, guys. If they've already told you what they want to know and you come back and tell them how to fix what they want to know, even though it is worthless as tits on a hog, but it's important to them, and you become the person who makes it important in their eyes and get it done, what kind of freaking hero are you? You would never know that. You would never have a clue. But you now become their hero because you saw something and did something that was important to them, even though it's got nothing to do with the scheme of things. How much trust are they going to have in you? You guys get what I'm trying to say? It's like, if you want to do marketing to a public company, Vince,
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to know the answer to this, but what's the first thing that you would do? Because I did this all the time in sales. What's the first thing that you would do if you want to market to a public company?
You research them.
Right. Does anybody have the answer to this? I'll tell you what, if anybody has the answer to this question, when this comes live, you get this free. Everybody take a shot at it. Every single person here. What would be the first thing that you would do if you want to sell something to a public company? Come on. You can do it. Think about it. Give me an answer. Know your customers, legal compliance, find out what they need, look at their website, call the secretary. Okay? Some of those are pretty close. Paul, you've got the right seed, but the wrong answer. Paul says find out what they need. Look them up on Dun & Brad. Okay? Research the competition. All of those are awesome answers. But you know what the most simplest answer of all is? Read the prospectus for the year, because they tell you in their annual report what it is they're going to be doing for the next year, how they're going to get to where they want to be the next year, right? Find what service and product they want to sell the most for the next year. They break it down. They tell the world. They bare their soul, right? So if you know that information going in, you're a hero, right? when you use this tool the way that we've designed it, they're telling you exactly how to sell them, regardless of whether you believe it or not, or it's effective or not. It doesn't matter, right? Right? And Brian, you're basically right. Prospectus is for, yeah, but it's public information, Brian. Okay, you can look it up and you can get it, right? For shareholders, they got to tell the shareholders how they're going to make money. Okay.
They have to publish their plans and their budgets for the year.
Exactly. And Mr. Fried Chicken there says that info is better than fried chicken itself. Okay. So the point is, we've developed a way for you to get inside their head, inside their soul, and become their hero. So the last question that we want to ask them is this: would you like to know why you're ranking so poorly? Do you think that would be a good question? Maybe you guys can think of a different question. Okay. Would you like to know why you are number 7? Okay. So how many of you would think that they would answer that question? All right. If they've gone through this process, do you think they want to know? Yes or no? Or they just don't care? Are you done, Vince?
Oh yeah.
Okay, you're done. All right. So, how many of you guys know Keith Ayers? Yes or no? No. Okay. How many of you guys, going back a little bit, remember us doing a presentation on one of our webinars about the GMB review sheet that people would fill out to say, it's like a GMB health report card? Does anybody in here remember that? That Keith shared with us on a webinar one day that he uses in all of his presentations to groups, right? Derek, yes. Brian, yes. Paul, you don't ever know anything anyway. Don, yes. Okay. Damn, I want it. All right. So give me 1 second, because what I'm going to do is share my screen. If I know how to share my screen, where's my screen? Questions, chat. All right, where's my screen? Where's the audience? Anyway, as I try to find this, Vincent, make me a presenter. Yes, okay, cool. Okay. So I just got this today. Just got it today. All right. I want to show you this. Okay, everybody see my screen? Because I'm not looking at any of the answers. So watch the answers for me, Vince. Okay. Can everybody see my screen?
Let's see.
Are they saying yes or no?
They're saying yes.
Okay. So if you guys would remember, and for those of you don't, what we did and what Keith did is he created I'm going to call it a scorecard, a health card, a report card, or whatever. And what it is asking the business owner a series of questions about his GMB. So I want to put this in perspective. He just went through this process of seeing where he ranked for his particular keywords. We come down to the end and we ask him, do you want to know why you're good or why you suck? The answer is going to be yes. We bring him over to this. This is a website. This is not a form. This is your branded website. Your name is going to be up here. Your information is going to be up here. This is going to be your report card, okay? And we go into this and we give points for each answer. Have you claimed your GMB? Okay, and they can click into more, and this is an image, so it's not live and going to work, okay? But I don't know. You don't get any points. Have you set up your GMB? Have you set up and entered all your business categories? Yes, you get points for that. So you go through this whole process of answering all of these until you get down to the bottom, and you ultimately get a score or a scorecard. And that score is going to tell you what you do well, what you do poorly, right? So this is the first iteration of this today that I've seen. We've been working on this for a month, because one of the problems was trying to get this built in a way that this could be branded and white labeled to you. And like I said, this is Keith's idea, Keith's air. He presented it to us. He gave it to us in an Excel spreadsheet, which you can send to people, but it's a little archaic, and it was hard to manipulate and hard to control. So this is going to be something that we're going to be launching to go and get their health cards. Now, one of the other things about this is that I'm working with my developer to get a field where they put in their name and address. And we're going to actually be able to pull the data that correlates to some of these questions to see whether or not they really know what they're talking about. And more than likely they don't, because they've got somebody doing this. But it will be very, very interesting to see the results that we get when we send this out behind what Vincent is doing, okay? And with that being said, how many leads we're going to be able to generate for you guys, all right? So, my question to you is, how insane do you think this can be? And like I said, this is the first iteration of it, based on the scorecards, based on all the things that we're doing. What do you think? You think this is good? We wasted our time? Is it something you think you can use? Can we modify it? Can you come up with some additional questions, come up with some scoring, or some other? And I have no idea where my questions just went.
Okay, so one person saying the GMB health card should also be turned into a Chrome extension to help the business owner to keep track of their progress, to get their GMB tuned up. I mean, that's
okay.
Insane was another response, which I like.
We can do. Okay. So what other ideas or things are coming? I mean, don't even think about it. Just pop them off the top of your head, right? The questions that we're asking here, are basically the same type of questions that are associated with the API. How many images have you done? Have you done 10 or more? Then you got a great score. If you've done 10 or less, you're not doing a good job, right? Have you selected the forms of payment? In other words, make sure your payments are done. Have you written and entered into your GMB account, a description? Have you added website URLs? You see how all of this is really kind of tied into you knowing, without ever going to their GMB, whether or not they think that they've done enough work on their site to be an effective player in their space.
One person had a suggestion. Let's see. Don had a suggestion: a traffic light for the score. The final score.
Okay. So because over here we're having the red, green is what you're saying. When we get down to the bottom, their score is either going to be red, yellow, or green. Is that right?
That's I'm assuming so.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
Let's see. So, Paul, you had a question. It said, be great if it didn't score for the number of photos or post. You mean did it score or didn't score? Paul. He said, be great if it didn't score for number of photos, posts, etc.
Yeah, if they answer, in other words, we can determine every single one of these values, Paul, right? So you could see over here in terms of earning the points. This is what I'm trying to say, is that as we develop this in the test room, then, we'll say 10 photos or more is 10 points. 9 photos or less is 0. I mean, there are certain parameters that we have to kind of stick with so that we're not all over the board, but at the same time, we don't want to get too granular. We just want to make it simple and easy so they can come up with a score at the bottom of the sheet, and that score reflectively tells them whether or not they're in good shape, bad shape, and need your help. And so the final question that's going to be in here is, would you like to know how you could score better on your GMB And when they say yes, it's going to trigger that same type of email directly to you, because they're going to get a report here, right? This is going to be a downloadable report, and that downloadable report is going to come directly to your email. It's going to come directly to wherever you have it set up in your responders and so forth, right?
Yeah, in each of these, we're really working we would like to work as closely as possible. And I think these guys have a couple of connections into your autoresponders. But in each of these, we'd like to make it very seamless. And I think you would be too. It's about getting your funnel on autopilot.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay. So I know we're kind of running late. Everybody can rock and roll. But the last thing that I want to do is just keep writing ideas, things that you see here that you might want to. I don't know where the hell my chat went.
It's over here. I mean, we're getting good stuff here.
Got it, but I've lost it. No comments on that, guys. Okay.
None needed.
All right. Take the screen back yourself real quick and give me a minute here to get this, because the last thing I want to talk about, what's the last thing on the sheet that we had there? Facebook GMB images. Okay. All right. So we are working on the image duplicator, and I want to pull something up here real quick and show you what we're working on. Because there's been a lot of conversation about images, right?
You want me to push it back to you, or you want it?
Oh, no, it's fine. You just keep it for a second. I'll tell you when to push it back to me. And so I want to let you guys know where we're going with this. How many of you guys in here have been following or listening to Alan chat about images and what to do with images? Give me a 1 if you are, or 2 if you're not. Okay. You can push it back to me.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I don't know how in the heck I lose my questions. That's never happened before. Okay. Just tell me if everybody can see my screen.
Yep, I think yes.
Everybody good?
I'm getting a lot of yeses, yeah.
Okay. So we're working on 2 different things. One is the old image duplicator that I had, and we're revamping it. And as you see here, we have a plugin. So this is a plugin for a WordPress site. We're working in parallel right now to create a SaaS, product along with this. Okay. Matter of fact, it's the same developer that is working on the GMB that's doing this as well. It's not Chris. Chris is so overloaded with stuff that I just couldn't give him another activity. So this is what this is, and this is what it's going to do and how it's going to work. And I'm looking for feedback from everybody to show you. And I don't even know where we are in the status of this, but I just want to show you. So primarily what we're going to do is we're going to pick an image, whatever that image is. We're going to say, how many images do we want? Okay, and let's just say I want 3 copies of that image. We go ahead and we build a template. So in other words, this is going to be your title template. So whatever title that you want to put in here, that's going to be your title template. Okay, so image 1, image 2, image 6, whatever you want for your title. The next thing in here is going to be your captions. Now this is the basic version, guys, okay? I'm building two separate versions. One's a basic and one's a pro. And so you're going to be able to spin that. This is going to be spin all your tags. This is going to be putting your description in here. I can't see the answers to the questions here, Vince, but
There aren't any questions right now.
I'm going to ask a question.
Okay.
Does anybody know the maximum amount of characters that you could put into the description of a in a description part of your image metadata? Does anybody know that?
Yes. 150.
Description.
Okay. 750,000. No. 5,000. 90,000. 25.
What we have done before, guys, is we've gone out to Wikipedia. I'm going to do this on the fly. And I just typed in Obama. Okay. There's 197,000 characters here. And the only reason I know is I've already done this. So if I take all of that information and we go back to, oh, fudge. We go back here, and I'm going to replace this information here with Obama. No, that didn't do it, did it? Let me go back over here. That's what happens when you do this stuff on the fly.
Oh, you picked up a link probably. Yeah.
All right, now we've got it. So we got all of that data. Supposedly all that data is in the description. All of it. It's all there. Keep going on and on and on and on and on. Okay? So a lot of people don't think that you can do this, but it's just not true. You can do it. Okay? So let's get back over to where we were. And then when we come down to settings area, you know, what's the file name going to be? We want to download the zip file. And what we're also doing here is we're taking the image, whatever the image size was, and we're modifying that and changing the image size. Okay. And in the basic version, none of this is available. This is loading your images to 5 or 6 different image sites. Okay. And I don't know why is that doing that, Vince?
What?
You can't see over on the left-hand side here.
Oh, you're something with your browser. It's kind of.
So anyway, I'm gonna make those images. If this is working. And then it's going to send it over to the media library. And then it's also going to create a zip file. Now we were having a little bit of problem with the zip file earlier, but it works. It's in downloads. But let's go over here to the media file. Right here. So when we look at the media file in WordPress, okay, we're going to see that it made 3 images, hopefully. It's spinning. Okay. So these are my 3 files that I had, right? So if I look at that, we can see the image, you can see the size, you can see the image title, caption, description, okay? And the interesting thing about this is that I want you to look at this. Look at all the data that's in that file, guys. It's all in there. Is that cool or what? Okay. If I want you to look at this. These were big images. That's why it took so long. And look at, so let's look at the next one. It was image 5. Now it's image 2. Now it's ranches for sale in Dallas. Now you see the pixel change. See the pixel change? See it? Okay. See it change, and all this other information is changing. So I just wanted to share that with you, and that's the basic version because it has those 4 areas that we're concentrating on. So let me go back to the plugin. And then I want you to notice this other section right here that we're working on, which is, how many of you guys know what XMP is? Data XMP. 1 if you do, 2 if you don't.
See, 2,
Okay.
2, 1,
XMP is the, if anybody makes images in Adobe, Adobe has a back end which is for XMP data, which is the same as EXIF data or metadata, kind of, right? So here's what I want to show you with this. As we go down here, the difference between this one, okay, which had basically 4 versions. Now look at all the spaces we could fill in. Okay, watch this. When I go over here, look, watch. Title, author, description, keywords, copyright, copyright notice, category, supplemental category, date, city, state, county, right? So how many of you think that if we put all of this data in and spun that data, that these images are going to be a lot more powerful than if we just put a couple fields in? Everybody get that? And then we can upload them to our Google Drive account, and then under the Pro version of this, Pro version, you're going to be able to stack your images on these processes where you're actually holding your images as storage. Imgur, Flickr, Picasa, and whatever. We're also going to put in a field in here for the actual geo coordinates of the address.
Good,
So
because
you
somebody
want-
just asked that about the longitude and latitude.
Yeah, I mean, you can put that in the description yourself if you have it. So think about what if we were doing RFR and GMB and we're getting map variants, guys, right? Map variants. How cool would that be for map variants, right? You can embed schema. Yes, sir. Longitude and longitude. Yes, sir. Right? So when you're thinking about the possibilities of these other tools that are out there, I'm not going to mention them. A lot of people don't like them. They're cumbersome. Okay? Used for increasing your Google local guide levels. Paul, that's brilliant. Right? You can embed schema. Do the spiders look at the description? Oh my gosh. No, they don't. But when we put it in there, they do. I'm just kidding, Don. The spiders look at everything that is in the back end of an image. It's like it's almost like, look at it this way. It's a postage stamp, right? What you see on the front is not what you get on the back. The back part of the image, which is what we're doing, is the sticky. It's the sticky, right? The front part is what they see. Now, we would say months ago, they don't really see the image that well, but they're getting better. And we all know that their OCR recognition of the actual image, you know, because we've been on Visions and we understand that Google is getting a lot smarter, but it still boils down to the data behind it. Okay, so I want to ask everybody a question here. How many of you, when you're building your site, how many of you use checkboxes How many of you use X's for bullet points? How many of you use bullet points? How many of you use line breaks? I want an answer. Yes or no? Edward, if you don't use any of those items, you're going to. Lee, you're going to. Why don't you? My plumbing business does A, B, C, D, and E. They're freaking bullet points, dude. They're check boxes. This is what we do, okay? Now, I want you to imagine this. Use this tool, use any tool. I don't give a shit what tool you use, okay? Go build yourself a set of bullet points, circles, check boxes, green X's, whatever. Go use any tool that is out there to embed data on those check boxes. If you take the data from your content and you put it in behind that checkbox, and that data represents what that site is about or that next line is about, do you think that's going to help you guys? Everybody went to sleep on me, right? You gotta do this shit. And because you know why you need to do it? Because no freaking body else is doing it. That's why we're building this stuff, to help you guys, right? You want to get absolutely retarded? I want you to go build a set of grammar. What do I want to say here, Vince? What is a period? What is a question mark?
Punctuation.
Punctuation. It is not considered stuffing. What are you stuffing, Don? You're actually just putting data behind an image that Google is going to read, so it knows what that image is about and knows what that image on that site is about, so it knows more about that site because the image is telling Google what the image is about on the site. Make sense? Does that make sense, guys? Right? You see how what we build all works together? It all works together so that you can do a better job, and you're doing what nobody else is doing. Nobody's doing the post on GMB like you are. Nobody's doing stacks like you are. Nobody's stacking their images that are fully optimized like you are. Nobody's doing backlinks and backlink factory like you are. You know, you're going to a gunfight, you know, with a bazooka, with all of this stuff, right? Jan, I'm not going to sell this until it's ready. I've done that before and it worked great, and then Google screwed it up. It's going to be very soon. I do want you to know one thing. How many of you guys in here are mastermind members? And I'm not pitching mastermind, I just want to know. Okay? Everybody in here that's in the mastermind, you already know that the image duplicator is part of your membership, so it's free. The basic version is part of your membership. It is free. Okay? You know you're in the mastermind if you're paying me $97 a month. You're in the mastermind. You get our products. Okay? So the beauty of this is, as we go down here and you see all of this stuff that's available. All right, here's a question. When this comes out live, I want somebody to answer this question for me, right? This is not a trick question, it's a real question. You see this question right here called copyright status? If you were creating an image for your site or for a product, okay, which would you use? Unknown, you want your copyright protect your product, or do you want it to be public domain? I don't have a right answer yet. Tim Judge, you win. You want it public, P-U-B-L-I-C. Okay, so Tim, when we launch this, right? And the reason is, as Tim just said, use my shit, right? Use my shit. In other words, you want to make these images and you want to make them really cool, and you want people to use them and share them, because the more they use them and the more they share them, what happens? The more links are coming back to you, the more data that Google reads is coming back to whatever site you're trying to rank. And does that make sense to everybody? Never protect your image work unless it's a client image that you have to protect, right? Use my turkey because it's already stuffed. I'm going to steal that. It's my term, Tim. You lose, buddy. That's mine. I love it. Okay? Does that make sense to everybody? They get your sticky side. Done. Exactly right. Okay? Public domain. But you know what? Here's the thing. If you don't have this particular tool, you can't do that. Because nobody's putting this stuff in behind their images, right? Nobody is. And we are. And so when you combine what Vincent is doing, okay, along with, you know, the GMB stuff, think about what you can do with your customer, your client, or Alan's stuff by using the image duplicator, using Alan's theories about blank sites, superimpose blank on blank stuff in the back so that nobody can see what's on the front of the image and Google can't read it, but you put it on your competitor's GMB site under his photos. I didn't tell you that. You read that, right? And now you put all your stuff on a competitor plumber's image site. You think he ever goes to images and sees what's on there, guys? Seriously? I'm not telling you to be devious. I'm just telling you what I read that Alan is doing, right? You see how important that stuff is? And then when you go down here, this is one of the things that's always irritated me, is I can't make banners at all, okay? So what we can do with this is you can take your image, all right? And this, we're still working on this, so I don't want anybody to really crucify me on it. I'm gonna just take that image right there, all right? And we're gonna come down here and, you know, we can check. We don't want to resize them, we just want banners. And remember, you can metadata and stuff your banners. I just do a couple of them. Okay. What about MP4 videos? Obina, is that how you say it? O-B-I-N-N-A, Obina? Yes. Okay. This version, not the basic version and not the WordPress version, but the SaaS version that we're building is going to do your YouTube image data stuffing. And will you be able to embed to bulk images? Will you be able to embed to bulk images? Paul, I don't know what you mean. What I can tell you is yes, watch. You can go up here, okay? And you see this choose a file. I don't have it done yet, but there's going to be a little bullet point here that says you can upload a zip file of images as long as that zip file itself does not exceed 8 megabytes. So you could have 50 images in here. Like look at this, especially for videos, right, guys? What happens if you put 50 different images in here? You're only going to create one of them, right? And metadata one of them, but they're all going to be variables of your YouTube videos that you make that are spun videos, now have different metadata. You know what I mean? What is it? I'm drawing a blank. Thumbnails, right? You got that? How cool is that? Okay. And the reason that we're kind of bringing this back to life is because all of the stuff that's going on with images and all the other shitty tools that are out there with images and, you know, people that really don't care about what they're doing. I do. And that's why I am revamping this and redoing it as a SaaS and as an individual. But how cool would it be for you to be able to do all of your banners and your pop-ups and they're all stuffed? Is that cool? I don't even know if it'll make them. Let's see. That's a JPEG. So what was that? Oh, that was a PNG. Yeah, this won't work with PNG. Sorry, guys. All right, this is not formatted correctly, so it's going to not work too well. But let's just see what happens. Because when you're making your banners and your various banner sizes, you have to be cognizant, once you run this a couple times, how it's going to actually generate and crop down that banner for you. We were having trouble with this yesterday, so it may not work. But shit. Did I actually make a zip file for that to do that with? I don't think I did I? All right, let me do it again. I apologize. So you guys good with this? I know we're going a long time, but you know, I don't care. Leave if you don't like it. Don't matter to me. Okay, so there's that. How many we want to create? One. I don't need, I'm not going to stuff it right now. And I am going to build a button that says select all. All right, but I'm just going to do those real quick for you so you can see it. Yeah, I'm hoping we're not boring you. But Karen's going to break these down into individual pieces, so you're not going to have to watch a whole thing. What did I call that as? It's going to be in my download folder anyway. Right? I guess, no, that's not it. What did I call it? What did I call it? Okay, that's that one. Anyway, apparently it's not working, but I'll have it working here pretty soon. We were working on it last night, but you get the idea, right? Yeah, it didn't do it. Okay. Anyway, does everybody get the idea how cool this is?
Nice.
Okay.
So
You know
Patrick,
what? I'm not going to get into the next part because we're already gone 2 hours, and we'll get into the next piece later. But we're going to be doing high-level reports for everybody to really drill down. You know, we got some people that are selling these reports for $1,000, $1,500 a piece. But anyway, I can't see the questions. So are there any questions?
okay, this is very cool, Matt. It's, you know, fast reference info. Yeah, so you already answered that with what Karen is going to do. No, I think that's it. I did have pulled up, if we have time, just to show you how the reporting tool would work in real time. If you want to look at that, running a quick report. If somebody asks about that, but we can always wait and do a video on that later.
No, we can do that right now. Anybody can leave anytime they want. Any chance there will be any fast reference info included or on a tab of info inside the plugin on what sites? Barry, no, we haven't done that, but if anybody wants to send me a list, you know, that's part of the reason we're doing the no list thing with Gary, because they can't strip the data out of our PDFs. Tim, easier than another product on the market that some people are using that I don't want to mention. Starts with M.
Dude.
Okay. All right, cool. Thanks. So
right.
That's it. Go ahead and take it back, bud.
All right, I'm going to just show you real quick.
Thank you guys for bearing with me on that. You know, once again, we just want to kind of give you a glimpse into our soul, what we're doing to help you guys be successful in your business. And, you know, that's what we live for. And I'll just give you a clue. Some people will write me and ask me, how do I do this? Or what do I do? My product isn't working. Don't ask me. I don't know.
And with that vote of confidence.
Oh, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know. Right? Here, I'm going to make it real clear. Right? I don't know. Because I don't deal with all 30 of our products every day. All right. That's why we've got the rooms. Ask your questions in the room, in the support rooms, because they're the experts, right? That's where all the action happens. I had some of you think, well, this doesn't work, it doesn't work, blah, 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 blah. And I wrote it back. I said, thank you very much for letting me know. I will let the people who fix it know, but don't ask me because I don't know. Anyway, just wanted to make sure everybody knows that because I get a lot of those every day. Go ahead, Vincent.
All right.
Sorry.
Is it still me or?
Yep, it's you.
Okay. All right. So you've seen this whole approach. We're looking for a Mexican restaurant. Let's take a Mexican restaurant. Let's pick one in Irvine. I'm going to go very wide, or 90210. See how many there are in Beverly Hills. And we want to look 6 miles around Beverly Hills. And we want to run it. And this is a more stripped down version of what you saw earlier because we want to increase the speed at which we give people answers. It's not a lot of the fancy. I didn't think we had any time to really push back a lot of images. We want to go very fast for people looking at things. Those are the online reports. Your PDF reports are being generated now, right? And so I had a process up here. I actually just ran this already. So this is a question I asked earlier when I was doing my testing. Would you give us the name of your business? And I give a name of the business. And since I had already been running it, it said, we're sending this report to your email address if that's okay. Otherwise, update your email. And if you're brand new, it actually goes through a process and asks you what your email is, and it'll send it to you. And it'll tell you that your email report is being mailed to you. Let's go. And this is the real-time report that just came to me. Mexican restaurant, 90210, and here's the information. That's as quickly as this email will be sent out to any of the prospect that would be going through this process. And you're going to get their business name, you're going to get their name, and I'm going to update this actually with the business name because one of the people that wanted to ask that, to have that, we're going to put that in. And like I said, you just upload your logo and we're able to pop your logo in right here and do that. And so that's how quickly a report can be run and sent off to a prospect. And you're watching it right now, but this is all going to be happening and you're not even going to know about it until you get a report of who ran it. And this is the kind of information, this is the kind of work that can be happening on autopilot while you just provide somebody with a link. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to make sure I showed that one.
Tito's Tacos.
Mm-hmm.
Number 12, Tito's Tacos. That must be Paul's customer. Paul, if that's your customer, dude, I know who they are and I know who you are. I might give them a call. So, all right.
And then, one of the things, and so Fry's, I've called my business name, Fry's. I've just been testing a bunch of different variables coming in here for my work, but it's been this process is going to be quite powerful for anybody who wants to try it. So that's what we're working on, and just wanted to share that one last bit with you.
All righty, guys. I think I'm going to call it a day. I'm getting a little slap happy here after 2 hours. Overall, do you think this was worth your time and effort to be here today? Did we share some good stuff with you? Leave us questions, PM me, not support questions, but ideas. And listen, can this report end with a link to our increase your rank checklist? Tim, that's kind of what we were talking about earlier. Were you asleep? Huh?
To your point, like the report may not end with it because we can do that. We can add that. That's actually a very good, we can grab your unique URL, but we should be able to, we're definitely going to, if you have purchased the other product, it'll go through a fork, and that fork, if you purchase the product, will have a link to that, the increase your score. That'll be one of the other options. Do you want to run another report, or do you want to see how you could improve your report or understand your GMB.
And then I think maybe the process is going to end, Tim, like this. And you know, I love you to death, and I just going to kid you. So it's it's not that I'm being harsh on you. It's just it's the way I am. But the ultimate end of the process here is that when they give you the last no, this is what we're thinking. We're definitely looking at feedback. But when they say, would you like to run another report? And they say no, then Vincent, I think what you and I've talked about is great. Would you like to know why you suck? And if they say yes.
And you want to let them know why, and you want to tell them in real time. We have an automatic process that'll walk you through it. And so now they realize they don't have to talk to anybody. Of course, they're going to jump in.
Then it takes them right to your branded health report that I showed you earlier. That's kind of like the funnel here that we want to use. Cook the frog by giving them something really easy, simple that can be done in a second to see where they stand on different keywords. And here's the really cool part that I think, and you guys give me your comments as well. We would encourage, and we may even do this in the text, Vince. We would encourage, if they put in 3 miles, we may put in an AI that says, are you sure you don't want to go 9 miles? Right?
We could.
The bigger the distance, the less chance they're going to rank in the top 3. Would everybody agree with me on that, or am I not thinking correctly?
Well, it depends on how close you are to where they are when you do that 3 miles, right?
But I'm just saying, the bigger the distance you put in there, the harder it is going to be for you to show up in the 3-pack, right?
Yeah, in general, like if you put a zip code.
Just as a general statement, right? So if you do a 3-mile radius, you go to Local Falcon, you're going to get a lot of green pins in a 3-mile radius, right? Oh, by the way, we're coming out with our own Local Falcon here pretty soon too. But if you go 9 miles, you're going to get a lot of red pins on those outer areas, right? So when you do your top 20, they may not show up in the top 3, even though they literally could be in the top 3. Does that make sense? I'm just asking. I want everybody to answer that question because just, logic to me. So we might want to encourage them to put in a bigger distance. Right? Thanks, Edward. Appreciate it, Michael. I love it when people actually answer me.
There you go.
Okay. So anyway, you and I could talk about that and how to do that. So once again, the funnel is you get this at the end when they're done. We try to get them to go into the GMB Health card, go through that. They've given you everything that you need to know how to sell them. You connect with them, and boom. I just think it's. And if
they don't jump on it right away, obviously the emails that you're able to send them afterwards because you have this information, you can always offer to them that in the follow-on email, right?
Yeah, through your autoresponders and stuff, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Very, very cool, guys.
And this, we're working through the testing right now on this particular. As soon as we get closer to releasing it, you guys will be the first to know.
All right. Okay. I'm going to say enough is enough for what we've done today. Everybody that's still here, give me a 1 if you thought this was valuable, or 2 if I just like to get on here like Hendrik says and just talk. I love Hendrik. He says, my webinars are always so long because I just love to talk. And I disagree with him. I don't love to talk. I love to make sure that you guys are getting value for what you're paying for. Right? All right, everybody have a good weekend. And we will see you again in a couple weeks, if not sooner. And by the way, we will let you know when we're ready to launch some of this stuff. And you know what, Vince, I think what I'm going to do is we should send out an email just to the people that are here today, and maybe offer a special price. What do you think?
I've got no problem with that.
I think that would be does anybody have a problem with that idea?
I'm waiting for the twos.
Oh, man, he says, hell no, don't do it. Dave, what's the matter with you? No? All right. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it. You have no idea how much Gary and I appreciate you guys. Have a good weekend.
You guys take care. Thank you.
Thank you, Vince, for being here with me, man.
Yeah. All right.